Hey, 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 hope everybody's having a good Thursday evening. Who do I got in here? I know I see Sandra in here. Who else do I got on stream? Hey, Don. I saw the like. Hey, Cynthia. Dale, welcome. Hey, Sharon, good afternoon. Well, good evening for some. All right. Hope you guys have been having a fantastic day. And everything's been going good for you all. Welcome in. Thank you for joining us on this Thursday. Yuki, you're muted, so whenever you're ready, you can unmute yourself.
Hey, y'all.
So let's see. So it looks like we got a question right off the bat, and we'll come to that too. So great. Yeah, please enter in your questions so that way they're ready for us and we can get to answering those. We'll start off today by doing a little bit of housekeeping here. So some of you might have noticed or have been getting emails that this is really unfortunate news. So Gigster is actually shutting down. And this is really, unfortunate for us and for you guys because it is really a good product. And the reason they're shutting down is because they no longer have the funds to continue operating. So they had a really good product and tool, and how the market is right now, they're not able to secure financing to continue growing their business. And so they made the decision to end servicing because they were essentially spending more than they could, to keep up the maintenance of the product and service. And it's very typical for tech companies to not profit for 4 years. So Gigster is 2 years old. And the reason we partnered with them was because they offered something no one else offered. It was just such an amazing tool for us as notaries. And for us as a signing service, we were able to pay you within 1 business day of a job for us because of the way they set up their product. And so, I'm really bummed because I thought it, added a ton of value to you guys, and we'll eventually have to be shifting as well. So we won't be able to do next day payments either, because the whole reason we did that was Gigster was giving us that money right away as soon as we ran a credit card transaction. So that way we were able to pay you sooner. So as a signing service with Notary Pin, we are looking into alternate methods of payment for you. This doesn't affect you getting jobs from us. I've been getting some messages about that, and we are still looking to pay you faster than any other signing service out there. Hey, Shelly. So I'm currently looking into a product where it sends an e-check, but you have an option to direct deposit into any bank account that you choose. I'm currently debating on the timeline. It's looking more like 5 business days is what our turnaround time would be able to make sure we pay you out and get you paid sooner. I am still making the decision to pay you before transactions close on escrow loan signing type of transactions. So most signing services, if you do a loan signing for them, they're not going to pay you until they get a check from escrow, right? And so I've made the decision to pay you because you completed the service. So you should be paid regardless of if the transaction closes or not. The main thing for us is to make sure that we have the cash and the available income to be able to continue doing that. And so, with now the question comes with the challenge. So many of you have created a Gigster account for the challenge. Will you still be receiving prize money? And yes. So Gigster was a sponsor. They will no longer obviously be sponsoring the event, but I'll be paying for the prize winners of those. So you will still be able to get the prize money. You'll still be able to continue growing your Google business pages. I just want you guys to all succeed. And even though Gigster didn't work out, it's okay. It'll be it's a real shame because I really got to know the CEO and I got to know the team. They were a really good team and a really good product, and it's just unfortunate of the timing. If this was if they'd started their company pre-pandemic, pre-2020, I'm fairly confident they would have gotten the funding to continue this service because there was nothing else like this out there. So we will be looking into alternates. We actually are not going to be using Deluxe. We're going to be using something called checkbook.io. And they offer they allow you to do direct deposits for free. So we are actually taking the cost of the transfer to you. So if you want to do direct deposits, you still can. There won't be any additional cost for you. They'll just be on our end. So we have other options out there. My vision and focus is still always to have your interest in mind and make sure that you guys are being taken care of. And so I want to give a great experience to all of you first. That's always been my focus. And that's why I partnered with Gigster, because I saw it as an opportunity to give you a better experience with signing services. So I just wanted to start off with that. We'll be sending out an email shortly and rolling out our new payment method in the next week. So if you guys have any questions about that, you can feel free to reach out to me or reach out to us, and we'll be happy to help you. You will be able to transfer any money that you have in Gigster into whatever account you need it to go to. There won't be any cost for those. So yeah, do you know how fast we should use Gigster funds? So, that's a good question. So Gigster is trying to close out by the end of the month. That's their plan. So September 30th, they're planning to shut down. So you will be able to transfer any funds that you currently have in your Gigster account. And you can also reach out to their email for any help, support@gigster.com. And they said they will be helping us with the transition during that time as well. So the notaries have been their biggest source of clients. So you guys have been their main, customer source, and they're definitely here to help us to transition out, because they definitely appreciate everything that we've done and everything that you guys have to adopt this new product and something that's new. It's always hard to do something new and try something out, but I'm glad you guys got to try it out. So Jason asks, hang on one second. Hey, Yuki, can you message Will and let him know it's in the email invite, the link? Yeah, thank you. Is there a payment processor like Square, but better? That is what I was hoping to get from Gigster. That was Gigster, honestly. I was using Square previously, and I picked up Gigster because it was better than Square. So unfortunately, Square is the only one that I know of that is just as similar. There's also Clover, a competitor to Square. There's also Stripe. I believe you kind of have to look at the differences. I think Square is actually the most expensive. Either Square or Stripe might be the most expensive. Clover has the lowest rates, I believe, but it's not too much lower. Gigster was still lower than all of them. So those would be some options there, and I'll type it out here. So you have Square, Clover, Stripe for payment processing for credit cards. Heartland. I've never heard of Heartland. Is that a payment processor? Yeah. And if you have money in there, it's super easy to transfer out. They're not going to lock it up in there. It's illegal to do that. So they would definitely, I've had a conversation with them at length, and they reassured me that you guys would be taken care of. If you have any money in there, you'll definitely be getting it out. So we're all good there. Okay, so let's get into the topic for today. So Yuki.
I'll mute myself here.
Okay.
Hey.
Great.
Just in case, just double send that link to Will, because he's still not on here. I don't know if he sees it in the calendar invite. But yeah. Cool. All right. I'll just get started then, Johnny.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, cool. All right, hey guys, thank you so much for coming today. We really appreciate you guys. Our loyal crew who comes every week. So really appreciate it. You guys are in for a treat today. This is my signature training, my special training. Oh, but here's Will. Let's get Will in here. Let's say hi to Big Willie. Hey,
Every
there
time.
he is.
Big Willie. Big
Big
Willie. What's
Willie.
going on, guys?
Good to see you, man.
Good to see
So,
you. Are you in Mexico too right now?
Dude, he
me?
lives in Mexico.
I've been living here for years, dude. Jesus.
Is that a real background?
Dude,
Oh,
this is Hey guys,
yeah.
so I'm on my way. This is internal notary pin fun updates. But Johnny, I finally convinced him to come in and live abroad and enjoy life in Mexico. So I'm on a 4-day road trip, with my family. We're going over to go meet Johnny out in the Cancun area. So here I am, beautiful ocean here in Campeche is the name of the state and the name of the city. I just thought I'd share that with you guys. I'm pretty hyped about it.
That sunset is beautiful, man.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Oh, here we go.
It's like,
but yeah, I'm gonna go show Johnny the ropes and find him a nice Mexican wife. So here we are.
Yeah, and so this is kind of special, guys, because we've so me and Jonathan know each other, but we've never met Yuki. Except for via phones, Zoom calls, and all that stuff. So this is the first time where Jonathan's going to be meeting Yuki. So it'll be a meeting of the greats.
Second? I've actually met Yuki before because Yuki's from Orange County, right? And he went to Orange County to visit his mom one day for Mother's Day, his parents. And my brother and I were like, hey, if you're going to be up there, let's just go up and take a visit. So my brother and I drove up to Orange County, had lunch with him, and Yuki was such a gentleman and paid for our lunch. And, we took him out to a pool table, a billiard table, and played pool with him.
Who won?
I don't even remember.
I won at the very end. I caught it.
Oh, okay.
I was down by like 4 balls. But yeah, anyway, so no, I'm super excited. Me and Johnny got some big projects coming up. So, the whole intention of it was for us to get together and be in person and to be able to work on a few things together for Notary Pin and a couple other things. So I'm super excited. I'm going to see him tomorrow night. So yeah, we'll do something tomorrow night, Johnny. Yeah. But yeah, so let's hop into the topic. Let's hop into the topic for today. Yeah. It's basically salesmanship and taking the call, right? Now, disclaimer, obviously, the number one thing in terms of how you present your information, how you take phone calls, how you communicate with customers is follow all rules, regulations, and laws that apply to you. As a notary. Oh. You got me now?
Okay, yeah, you're back. He's frozen.
Okay. If it keeps doing that, let me know, and then I'll just move closer to the to inside. Yeah, so number one rule is abide by any laws, regulations, rules of your state, right? If your state has a very mathematical way of calculating the travel fee, then stick to that, right? If your state has a very mathematical, formula for whatever it is in terms of charging and pricing, stick to that. So that's no matter what I say, that trumps everything, obviously. All right. So that's the disclaimer that I want to start with. Now that I've gotten that out of the way, I do want what I want to say is that, when you guys get these calls, right? So when you guys have Google business pages or you're running Google ads or whatever, however you're getting customers and the calls are coming in, there is an element of salesmanship that can help you succeed. A lot of times people think, oh, I just give them my pricing. I just, refer them to my booking page, my website. But without the salesmanship, what happens is you lose a lot of people, right? Because you have the customers who desperately need you. And even if you're stumbling and you're not that good on the phone, because they need you so badly in that moment, they're going to have the patience to give you the address, to set a time, and to get you to wherever they need the appointment to be, right? And then you have the customers who are just really cheap, who are even asking, you don't do this for free? You don't do this for $5, right? So you have those customers as well who call in on the other side of the spectrum. But you have this whole middle chunk, right? 50 to 60% of people, it could go either way. So if you know what you're doing on the phone when the call comes in, That's the big chunk that you can save and turn into paying customers, booked appointments. Let me just get in the chat. I see there's a good number of you here. Who in the chat? Let's just get a couple questions in the chat regarding pricing. What are your guys' concerns about pricing? And I'm just going to get into the presentation, but as I get into the presentation, just go ahead and any qualms or concerns that you have about how to price or how to close the appointment, just please go ahead and write those in the chat, and that'll help me kind of get a feeling for where you guys are. But what I want to do with you guys today is I want to share a structure with you as far as how to take these general notary phone calls, right? Obviously, if a signing service is sending you a job, there's no salesmanship needed. The signing service already got the job, right? But the whole purpose of this series that we've been doing these last few weeks is for you to get direct general notary work inquiries coming in. So in that context, that's what this training is for. So let's get into it. So what I want you guys to do is pull out a notebook or notepad, grab a pen. I'm going to give you guys 4 key questions that you guys are going to use to lead any general notary phone call. Let's just look at these real fast. So we got Jason. Is there any restrictions in Nevada on charging for services outside of notarial acts, like same-day service for your printing fee? Now, that's one of those things where, once again, guys, I have notarypublicdigitalmarketing.com, and I have clients in a bunch of different states. I don't ever say that I know all the rules of every state. I don't. So it's really up to you guys to consult with local experts and figure out what those rules are so that you keep everything kosher. Sarah?
Jason, I do want to mention, Jason, I would definitely reach out to your notary groups within Nevada and ask them about that. There should not be any issues with printing fees. Obviously, that's outside of the Notarial Act. It's like Staples or Office Depot charging for printing fees, right? You should be able to do the same. In terms of like expedited services, I would think that you could, if it's itemized as like a rush service, and not, because I know most states have regulations around travel fees, right? So as long as from my understanding, if you're itemizing what it is that you're charging for, it is okay, but you have to just confirm in your area what makes sense for you.
Yeah, and actually the good thing is that there's a good number of states where there's no regulation on travel fees, and those are the best states to be a notary in. Sometimes if you're a notary in a state where it's only 60 cents per mile, it's really hard to make money, and it might not be the right business. Now per signature, per seal, obviously that's usually regulated in every single state. The travel fee is usually where you do have the leeway. But yeah, Jason, I would check in with some local friends as far as what they know. Sarah, I give them my fees and some say I'll call you back and then ghost me. This is very true. Anytime someone says they call you back, 90% of the time they do not call you back. So you always want to push for the booking. Say, okay, what you want to do it at 6? You want to do it at 7? Right? What's the address? And you really want to just get it in the books, while you have them on the phone. So let's jump into it.
To mention there is, Yuki's going to train you on this, but usually what happens when you give them their price and they're not committing to it, it's probably because you haven't pulled out their real true reason or motivation behind why they're needing a service. But Yuki will get into that. And then one more thing before you go in, Yuki, there was a question here from Sandra that I can answer. So durable power of attorney pricing as a mobile notary, it depends on your state, because some power of attorneys require 2 witnesses, right? And they need those witnesses to be notarized as well. So you have 3 notarizations there technically. In California, usually they don't require witnesses. Sometimes it does. Depends on the attorney who drafted it or where they got the document from. So you could charge per notarization there, right? I know a notary who charges more for power of attorneys than she does a normal document because it has more value and weight. Usually when someone's doing a power of attorney, they're oftentimes older and they're reaching a state where they might no longer be sound of mind. So these families are trying to get this document notarized before something like that happens. So she charges $100 for durable power of attorneys. That's the starting rate. Some notaries will still charge, $50 just because it's a single notarization. But you have to remember too, the value of the service you're providing is based on the value that the customer perceives, not the value that you determined.
Yeah, I read a great article the other day about the consulting firm Morgan Stanley. There's a line that they use anytime they're courting a new corporate client, and they say, we're only going to enter into an agreement or into a contract if we can both agree that the value that we are bringing exceeds the cost that you are paying. And what that allows them to do is if they invent an ingenious solution, even if the actual manpower, labor hours, all the hours that they're paying to their staff is a lot lower than what they're charging, because of the ingenuity, they're able to charge a lot more, right? They're not just charging by the person, by the hour, they're charging for the solution, right? And it's situational. I just thought I'd share that. But so let's
one more thing too.
Go for it.
I know this will be in some of your minds. It's like, why are you charging more for a service that takes the same amount of time and effort, right? The reason is you are providing a service that is very valuable, and you're not selling the notary service. You're selling convenience. People are calling you because you're a convenient option. They're not calling you. If they wanted a deal, if they wanted the cheapest price, they would go to the UPS store, they would go to the bank. They're calling you because they need the convenience of your service. And that is what you're selling. You are not selling the Notary Act. Okay, hope that all makes sense to you all.
Yeah, otherwise you're just taking people at your office, right? But that's not what we're doing, right? We're doing is we're going after the mobile notary work, right? Keyword mobile. So so let's jump into it. So a call comes in, right? And most of you guys probably already have kind of your way of managing that call and leading that call. On the topic of leading that call, you always want to lead the call, right? A lot of amateur, basically where all my feedback is coming from is because I run Google ads for a bunch of notaries, and actually the calls get recorded. So I've listened to thousands of calls through Google.
Tens of thousands.
By now. But I've listened to so many calls across so many different states that I can tell you what works and what doesn't as far as the salesmanship of it. And anytime you let the customer lead the conversation and you're just answering questions, it usually ends up in who was the one that brought it up? It was Sarah, right? It usually ends up with, "Oh, thank you, I'm going to call you back," and then they don't call back. So you always want to lead the conversation. So I'm going to give you 4 questions that you can use, not a script, not a word for word script, but 4 questions, 4 milestones, right? While you're pushing them to the goal line so that you can score the touchdown and get the football season starting. First week's on Sunday. And that way you can close the sale and get the appointment. So first question, right? The call comes in, right? Customer is going to say one of 2 things. They're going to say, hey, is this the notary? Maybe they found you on Google, or right away they're going to say, hey, where are you guys located? Right? So first question that you always want to ask as a notary is, where are you located? Right? So you say, where are you located, sir? Where are you located, ma'am? That's the first question, right? Now, sometimes people will ask you, where are you located first? Okay. And the reason why they usually ask that is because maybe they've done a little bit of online research. Maybe they have visited some other people's websites in their research, and maybe they read somewhere that some notary in the area charges by the mile, $1 a mile or whatever it is. And now they're thinking, oh, all notaries charge by the mile. And now they're looking for a notary that lives on their block. That's the only option in their mind now to get the best deal, right? So my first tip would usually be to not tell them where you're driving from, or you don't take people in your office anyways, right? You don't take people at your home anyways, right? Most of you guys, right? So if you do get a customer who starts off with where you guys are located, my usual tip that I recommend is all you say is, well, we're mobile. We come to you. Where are you located? Right? That's my first tip. This is even before we get into the questions, actually. I got a couple general tips. My second tip there is sometimes you get a really persistent personality. Usually it's like a macho guy, who asks you a second time. Big Willie right there. Big Willie's in it now. Big Willie's in it. He's a soft. He's a plush teddy bear, even though he's got muscles. But sometimes you get an aggressive personality who says, but where are you located? Where are you driving from? So in those situations, what I would suggest to you all, since we're friends and basically our purpose here between me, Jonathan, and Will is to help you guys make more money. My suggestion is you tell them, well, you know what? I cover the entire Las Vegas, greater Las Vegas area, Jason, or I target the greater Los Angeles area, wherever you are. I just drive from home to home. At some point, I will be crossing through your neighborhood. Where are you located? And that just lets them feel that as long as they schedule it for when it's convenient for you, when you're already driving through, they're still going to get a fair deal, right? Which is all people want, is a fair deal. Another general tip before I get into the 4 questions is it's not like you get these calls every 10 minutes, right? Even if you guys have a really strong Google business profile, maybe you're getting 1 call a day, 2 calls a day, right? It's not an hourly thing in most cases. So if you do get one of these phone calls coming in, notary client, right? Someone calls in, they say, hey, is this the notary? If you're driving, pull over, right? If you're at the grocery store, finish shopping later, right? Just go out and take the call, right? Because what happens is if you say, hey, you know what? I'm grocery shopping. Can you just give me 30 minutes? I'll call you back. And then you call back in 30 minutes and they don't pick up because they've already found somebody else. Right? If it doesn't work out with you, they're calling the next number on the Google business listings right away. So when that call comes in, that's your at bat. You only get 1 or 2 at bats a day, right? Unless you're running ads and you just spend a bunch of money on getting leads, then maybe you're getting 5 or 6, right? But otherwise, you really don't have that many at bats per day. So give it your full attention. Pull over, give it your full attention. That's my first tip. Now let's get into the 4 questions. First question you're going to ask is, where are you located, right? You're asking that because you're just doing your own mental calculation of how far am I going to drive? How much gas am I going to spend? How much time am I going to spend back and forth? What you don't want to tell them is if they say, I'm located in, I'll just use Orange County since I'm familiar with Orange County. If they say, I'm located in Laguna Beach, which is really south, right? And you're in Anaheim. Let's say you're in Anaheim, right? And which is more north, right? Like, ooh, Laguna Beach, that's kind of far. I'm gonna have to charge you more. Don't say that. You just lost the customer. There's so many calls I listen to like this, right? So do not say that. Just nod. Okay, Laguna Beach, noted. Right? Even if it's far away and you're going to charge them a little extra because it's far away, you don't want to tell the customer, I'm charging you more because you're so far away, because then they're just not going to accept the appointment, right? So that's my first tip, right? So first question, where are you located? Just for your personal calculations, right? You don't need to give them a reaction as far as, that's so far, right? Second question that you're going to ask to lead this conversation. And this is like my favorite question. This is the best question. So make sure you write this down. You're going to say, what's going on? What's your story? So that's actually two questions strung together. What's going on? What's your story? And I'll tell you what most notaries ask at this point in the conversation. They usually say, what type of document is it? Right? Which is a 1-word answer. It's like a yes or no question, right? It's like with dating, right? You don't want to ask a 1-word question. What's your favorite color, right? You want to ask, right, an open-ended question so that the other person has a chance to really share what they're feeling or what's going on, right? So you want to say, what's going on? What's your story? And then they're going to tell you the whole saga of, well, I need to sell my car, and then I finally found a buyer on Craigslist, and we're meeting up at the grocery store parking lot, and I just realized I need a notary for the bill of sale. Or they're going to tell you, well, grandma, unfortunately, she's sick, and and she has a major surgery tomorrow, and visiting hours are about to end. There's only an hour left of visiting hours at this hospital, and we have to get this power of attorney done before, just in case something goes wrong with the surgery tomorrow. You want to understand the full context of what's going on. If they just say POA, then you have no context, and you really don't understand how urgently they need it or how important this particular situation is for the customer. So in lieu of saying what type of document is it, my recommendation that I usually recommend to the notaries that I work with is, what's your story, or what's going on? What's your story, or what's your story? What's going on? Right. So then
I want to mention here, Yuki, sorry to interrupt you, but
go for it.
So with this question too, this is a really useful question for you, so you can understand how to best serve this customer, because you're trying to gather information. If they're just saying, oh, it's a POA and that's it, but you don't realize that this person is getting a POA for their mother who is nearing end of life, and they would really benefit from having someone come out there as soon as possible. And you're able to hear this and say, you know what, I have this appointment here. Let me move my schedule around. I want to help you out and make sure you get the service you need. And you're providing a service, right? So if you're not able to ask the full reason of what they're actually needing, how can you best serve them if you're not, understanding of the full situation? All right, sorry, go ahead, continue.
No, that was great. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah.
So once you ask that question, that's their turn to talk, right? So you're going to let them talk. Maybe it takes them a minute, maybe it takes them 2 minutes to get the full story out. And you're listening. You're being an active listener, and you're listening for two things. You're listening for what's the urgency, what's the timeline, and the second thing that you're listening for is there something bigger on the line, financially speaking? And I'll get to that later. Now, once they finish sharing that whole story with you, you get to your third question, which is also a very important question. You're going to ask, and does this need to get done today? And does this need to get done today? The reason you ask that is because if the clock's winding down, right? If the sun is setting, right? It's already 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, right? And they need to get this document notarized today because they need to show up at court tomorrow at 9 a.m. with this document. Well, who else is going to take that job, right? Most of your competition, they're not willing to go out after 5 p.m., right? The banks, the UPS stores, all the walk-in places, the franchises, the chains, they're closed at 5 p.m., right? So if it needs to get done today and it's already past 5 p.m., well, you can charge a premium for that because most other people, notaries, aren't willing to do it. So you want to, and does this need to get done today? Now, obviously, if they say, oh, no, there's no rush, this can get done anytime in the next 3 weeks, then you're not gonna shoot it as high, right? You're gonna give a more competitive quote because the urgency isn't there, right? Once again, if your state dictates that there's a very specific way to charge, there's a formula, stick to that formula. I'm just talking to the people where they do have the leeway in their states where the travel fee is not regulated, right? And when we're talking about the travel fee, obviously you stick to, California, $15 per signature, right? Or Nevada, $10 per signature, whatever it is, you stick to that. We're just talking about the context as far as the travel fee. We got a comment here, Shelly. My dad used to use the same question for people selling their homes in real estate. For his real estate investment business. He learned so much about how he could help them and also make a deal for himself. Exactly, right? If you're just asking about the numbers of the house, that just tells you one side of the story. But if they're telling you, oh, this is a house that we're inheriting from so-and-so, but I don't want to inherit it because my family lives in another state and it's just going to sit here. Once you understand the whole context of what's going on, you can make a much better and a decision, and you can serve the customer much better.
It shows you care too.
It shows that you care as well. Great point. So we get to the third question. We get to the fourth question, right? So first question, recap. First question is, where are you located? Second question is, what's going on? What's your story? Third question is, does this need to get done today? And the fourth question is, you just want to clarify the number of documents and the number of signatures, or the number of seals, depending on how your state does it. Because sometimes you get those tricky callers who have booked a notary a few times before, and they know how you guys charge. And they know that if there's more documents, they're going to charge more. And so they're hiding the fact that there's 5 documents, and they're just telling you it's a POA when really there's a healthcare directive and a will and XYZ. And you get those tricky callers, and they're going to try to hold these. Oh, you said 85, you said 65, and there's 5 documents when you show up, and then trying to hold you to that price. So just in case for the tricky callers, you ask the 4th question, which is, so just to confirm, is it just the POA? Is it just the 1 signature? Right? And that way they have, no, there's actually 2 more, and then they confess to you that there's more. Right? So that's the 4th question. Once you ask these 4 questions, you are now ready to give pricing. Okay? If at any point previous to asking these 4 questions, they start asking you, what's your price? How do you charge? Don't tell them yet until you have finished asking the 4 questions. What I would tell them is, I'm sorry, ma'am, excuse me, sir, I just got to ask you a couple questions before I can tell you that, because it depends, right? Because if they ask you right off the bat, hey, is this a notary? Yes. What do you charge? How do you charge? Say, well, I charge a $65 travel fee plus $15 a signature. And then they go, okay, thank you. And they hang up, and then they write it in their notes because they're price shopping, right? You want to give yourself the opportunity to win. You want to have the full conversation, right? So there you go. So at any point they ask, what's your pricing? Just say, I just got to get through these questions, sir. And I'll be able to give you an accurate pricing very soon. So then you get through those 4 questions. Now you're at the end, right? I have kind of a pricing breakdown split that I usually recommend to the notaries that I work with, or that do my Google ads with me. Hold on, just real quick comment from Jason here. They can still lie to you about the total document signatures. I simply give them an estimate to cover my bases in case they try to hide anything from me. I remember talking to Jason about this. He just gives them a range, or he tells them, and that is a good way to save yourself, Jason. But then again, you do get customers who they want to hear a price. So, in those cases, you do want to give some kind of a price. So I usually have a split that I recommend. And it might be outdated because I've been recommending these same kind of price points for a few years. And with inflation and money printing and all this stuff, maybe the bottom price is already too low. But here's usually the split that I give. Your bottom dollar, right? Your bottom price, I usually recommend $65. And once again, you're going to do the math backwards, right? So if you're in California, where the cost per signature is $15, well, that's a $50 travel fee, and it's $15 for the signature, $65. If you're in, give me another state, Jonathan.
Nebraska.
Well, one where we know the cost. Florida. So Florida, I think it's $10. So if you're in Florida and it's $10 a signature, right? Technically, that's a $55 travel fee and a $10 signature. I don't have time to give 50 different versions of it. So I just tell you the one umbrella price, and you just do the math backwards. Mm-hmm. So usually bottom dollar is going to be 65. That's really just your save it price, right? That's your price for someone who needs you to cut them a little slack, right? That's your price for the young guy who's buying a used car on Craigslist, who needs the bill of sale notarized. Obviously, it's a young guy buying a used car on Craigslist, right? Maybe he doesn't have a lot of money. So $65 is going to be your save it price. And once again, we're just talking about one signature situations, one signature documents. Obviously, if it's 10 signatures, then you do in California, you would do 10 times 15 is 150. That's much higher than 65. You're just going to go with with that calculation. We're just talking about one signature situations right now. So 65 is your go-to low price. I would say 85 is a good middle price. Power of attorney, documents of moderate importance where someone's health or something is involved that's pretty important. $85 is a very fair price. From there, I would say 105, right? So just $20 differences. So 85 is your middle price, 65 is your low price, and 105 is your high price. If it happens to be an individual who obviously is very wealthy, I just share calls. A call that I listen to is, hey, I'm trying to transfer the deed of my house to my son because I'm moving to the Bahamas. I'm retiring. Obviously, this guy is retiring, moving to the Bahamas. He's not even trying to sell his house. He's just giving his house to his son. He's probably fine financially, right? So 105, and it's fine. People at a high level, they don't care about paying an extra $20. They care about their time, right? If you can get there at the time they want and they can book it, they don't want to spend another 30 minutes, another hour trying to find somebody who can fit the time, right? So I would say 105 is your higher end. Now, in some cases, when all the stars align, you can charge even higher than that, right? So I would say your high price in those situations, you could even charge 150, even if it's just a one signature situation. Quick comment here from Meenakshi. In Texas last week, one couple came to me for T-47. They were two signatures on the document, but I needed one notarized stamp. How much I have to charge? I'm in Texas. The price for a document is $10 per signature. So once again, it all depends on the context. Do they need it done that night? Is it already late? Right? Oh, just got pitch black behind me. Right? Is it already pitch black? Right? Is it is there? I actually don't know what T-47 is. What is that, Jonathan? Do you know what that is? T-47.
I think it's a type of document, but I don't know. But I know Texas, they just increased their fees. It used to be $5 for the first signature and then $1 for the second. So again, this is a state-specific thing. So I don't know if it's now $10 per signature. It sounds.
Oh yeah, I thought it was like 6-4-4-4. Like first one's 6 and then it's like
it was
4,
6 and 1. So like if you had two signers on one, I'm sorry, it was 5 and 1. So if you had two signers on one document, it would be $6. If it's one signer on one document, it was $5. But it looks like Texas's fees have changed. So again, things are fluctuating. There's so many states. We can't know all of them. So you have to know the prices that you need in your own states.
Property survey. Interesting. So you want to listen very closely, Meenakshi, because I'm going to get into a couple, I'm going to give 2 examples right now that are probably going to help you figure that out for yourself there. So let me tell you when you may be able to charge even 150, even if it's just a single signature. I'm going to give you 2 stories of real clients and real phone calls that I listened to through the Google Ads recordings. Client in LA, in the LA area, right, gets a phone call. It's a woman calling from the airport. Say, hey, I'm here at LAX. I saw a funny TikTok the other day. I guess if you're old enough, this is the motion. But now it's the iPhone. Yeah, I still do this one. So they say, okay, I'm at LAX, right? I'm here with my 2 kids, and we have a vacation book. It was the holiday season. It was like December. They're gonna go visit my family in Mexico City. We've been planning this. I totally trust my adult son, who's like 20 something, mid 20s, to take my daughter, who's 17. Totally trust my son to take my daughter. But the airline employee is telling me that if I don't have a minor travel consent form notarized, they may get turned away at customs. And to make things worse, the plane's going to take off. It was like less than 3 hours. The plane's going to take off very soon. Can you please drop everything and come now? That was the call, right? So my client, he goes, okay, well, I'll tell you what, I'll drop everything. I'll jump in my car. I'm going to drive to LAX right now. It's going to be $150. And guess what her reaction? Some of you guys might be thinking, $150, it's just one signature. It's just one document, right? But she said, oh my gosh, thank you so much. You're a lifesaver. Because what she said was if she didn't find somebody, she was going to lose the plane tickets, lose the hotel, lose the whole, her family had taken time off of work for this week where her kids were going to come. So you just saved her at least $1,000 is between the plane tickets and the hotel. Plus, compared to 150, right, to save that whole vacation, right? It was a no-brainer. And you really are the Superman swooping in and saving the day in those situations, right? So you have to be able to identify those situations when the stars align. If it's super urgent, right? Timeline, plane's going to take off in less than 3 hours. That's urgent. And there's something bigger on the line financially, right? They're going to lose $1,000 plus in plane tickets and accommodation, right? So what's 150, right? So when those two factors align, urgency and something bigger on the line, that's when you charge your 150. If it's okay to do in your state, of course, right? This is California, where the travel fee is not regulated, right? So if you're in Arizona or Nevada, you might be in a little different of a boat there. Now, let me give you another example, right? Client in Tennessee, right? The greater Nashville area. She gets a call, right, from the hospital, right? So it's a lady who's saying, "Hey, I'm here at the hospital, some hospital in Nashville. I'm here with my father-in-law, my husband's father, and he's very sick. He's been in the hospital. He's very sick. And today they're moving him to a different wing of the hospital because they don't think that he has much time left, unfortunately, right? Just that's the circle of life, right? And the life stage. Sometimes that happens, right? So they're moving him to a different wing of the hospital. Now, originally, he was going to give their house, to my sister-in-law, my husband's sister, but he's had a change of heart and he wants to give the house to my husband. How quickly can you get here, right? Right, to change up this will, right? Before he changes his mind again, right? Is it, well, I'll drop everything and go. It's going to be 150, right? Oh my gosh, you're a lifesaver. Thank you so much. We'll see you here. Here's the room number, right? So this lady's thinking about a house, and a whole house. Right? I don't know how much houses are. I don't know if it was like a $200,000 house or a $500,000 house. Or I don't know what how much the house costs, but it's a whole house versus $150. It was a no-brainer for this caller to book the appointment. Right. So this type of call doesn't come in all the time. It's not the majority of calls. Maybe it's 1 out of every 5 calls or 1 out of every 10 calls, right? But when that call comes in where the urgency lines up and the something bigger on the line lines up, that's your opportunity to shoot it a little bit higher if it's okay to do in your state, of course. I just had Anthony, Anthony Tran, right, Johnny?
Yeah, my brother.
Yeah, he signed up. He signed up for my Google Ad services a couple weeks ago.
Awesome.
And he just texted me like yesterday or 2 days ago that he followed this advice because this is a training that I do with every client one-on-one usually. Today I'm doing it for you guys as a group, but I do this training for every client one-on-one usually, and it was a situation. It was a power of attorney situation where the caller needed a document notarized to have access to his aunt's funds or his grandma's funds or something, right? So obviously, so he charged $100. He wasn't used to charging $100 for just one signature, but he charged $100, and it was a no-brainer. He's like, oh yeah, let's book it. So anytime there's funds on the line or something bigger on the line financially, this is what you want to do. As long as
I would say, guys, too, and me and Jonathan have kind of dealt with this before in the earlier days of Notary Pen, where we picked up this guy, like answer your phone on nights and the weekends, especially if your hours say 24/7, actually be 24/7, or because we had, I remember a client that we had that was getting trust documents signed, and he called 18 notaries on a Sunday, and we were the 18th list. We were the 18 people on the list that he called, and we picked up, and we were finally able to earn his business, right? So part of it is just like being available on days or times that other notaries aren't available.
I'm so happy about these comments, you guys. I
have to mention too. So I gotta say, like, this is it's clear you guys are seeing Yuki's value here. So the whole reason that I hired Yuki for my own business is because of his sales skills. This is something that notaries just don't have. I didn't have it. this is like, I'm not trying to plug Yuki. He's just really, really good and he delivers so much value. But the service that he provides with the cost it includes like this private coaching. So he's helping you to make sure that you're converting these leads that he's creating for you. And the reason being, because if you're not successful, then you won't be a customer of his anymore, right? So he's like invested in your success, because if you don't succeed, then you don't continue using his service. So it's really a necessity for him to coach us. And I was telling Yuki, I'm like, man, you are spending so much time on so many calls with so many notaries, because, you know, but he loves doing it and he's always there to help. So just a shameless plug there, I guess. But
thanks,
it's
Johnny.
truly like what you provide is extremely valuable, and no other service I've seen offers that. I've seen other people offer some type of Google Ads course and like, you know, different things, but what you provide is just way above and beyond. So thank you.
I appreciate that, Jonathan.
And
Appreciate
you're
that.
sharing so much of that knowledge here for free. So thank you.
I love that. I'm gonna put my Calendly link in the comments here. I guess it shows up as Jonathan Tran, but I put it in here. So I'll tell you guys what. I am actually close to transitioning out of this business as far as this clientele. I'm still going to be a digital marketer, but me and Johnny have a few projects coming up, and I'm actually going to start offering my digital marketing services to a different type of client. So if you do want to get started on Google Ads with me, now's the time. You know, I'm probably going to just take new clients for the next week, and then I'm probably going to close off new enrollments, and then just move on to, I got a couple other projects coming up. Obviously, Anthony, Sarah, if you're out there, she also signed up from one of these webinars like 2 weeks ago. And I'm still, obviously my current existing clientele, I'm taking care of them, of course. But pretty soon I'm going to stop taking on new notary clients. So if you would like to set up a strategy call with me on my Calendly and start a Google Ads program with me, this is probably the last week that I'm going to take new customers. So yeah, go ahead and click on that link, pick a time. It'll send you a Zoom link, and then we can have a one-on-one where we can strategize together, and then I can tell you guys more about the program. But yeah, so there you go. So recap. Number 1, where you located? Number 2, what's going on? What's your story? Number 3, and does this need to get done today? Number 4, and just to confirm, is it just the POA? How many documents and how many signatures? Right? And then you get to pricing. 65 is your save it price, just to save the call. If it's someone who needs a little bit of a slack, you know, for you to cut them a little bit of slack. 85 is your go-to middle price, power of attorneys, wills, things of moderate importance. 105 is your higher price for the guy that's moving to the Bahamas, right? In the case that all the stars align, there's urgency. This has to get done in the next couple hours. Hospital visiting hours are ending in 2 hours. Can you come now, right? Urgency, or grandma's going into surgery tonight. Can you come now, right? Urgency plus something bigger on the line. We're going to lose our plane tickets and hotel. You know, I'm about to inherit this house. I'm about to get access to funds, right? That's when you charge the $150. Once again, as long as it's kosher to do in your state, and that wraps it up. That's the training. That's the structure I would use.
Hooray! Hurrah! Hurrah!
I was most excited for this session, and I really wish more people were on here for this, because this is probably the most valuable one. And because I mean, I've been seeing this for the last 8 months since I've been working with Yuki. You know, getting the trainings, going through that same process that you guys are going through right now, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like really good. And I knew right away the first question or not the first, but that second question of, you know, what's going on? What's your story? So I've done like sales trainings for other stuff, and they ask the exact same thing. It's a common use in sales training because it helps to gather information. That's what it's for. And Yuki's using that. So everything you're learning, it's taught by Yuki's learned this from his sales lessons and training.
I'm a student of sales. When I was in college, right? I went to college in New York, and in the summers, I did door-to-door salesmanship in the state of New Jersey. I visited the whole state of New Jersey, one door at a time. And I really, honed my skills there. Big fan of Jordan Belfer, the Wolf of Wall Street, who has a program called the Straight Line Sales Persuasion Program. So this isn't anything new. I'm not, this is an amalgamation of the best, of the trainings and the books and everything that I've seen and everything that I've tested. I can't take credit for everything. This is an amalgamation of the best of what's out there.
And this is coming from somebody who I am not a person who enjoys sales at all. Like I've always felt it was slimy and scammy and sleazy. And, you think of a used car salesman, that's what I thought of. But, after working with Yuki, I realized that if I'm not asking these questions, how am I supposed to serve my customers? How can I, sales is a service. And by not finding out the whole situation, I'm doing them a disservice by not helping them and asking the right questions, right? So yes, that was today's session. Do you guys have any questions while we're here? We can take questions for a few more minutes, but I hope you guys all enjoyed today. And again, this is recorded. I'll be posting this in the Facebook group in the guides. If you haven't seen that already, there's a tab in the Facebook groups that has every training session that's recorded, and it's all in there.
Roxanne comment here. Didn't know anyone could hear ad calls. Is that only if Google Ads uses a Google number? Yes. So this is only through Google Ads. It's not your Google business calls, and it's only for your use, right? And you have to enable it. So you have to turn on call recording, and then you have to verify your website domain and stuff. And it only saves it for 30 days. So actually after 30 days, I can't even access the recordings anymore. Me and my team, we just listen to the calls during those 30 days to make sure that you guys are making money and that the calls are successful.
And it actually uses your actual number. You don't have to, it's not like a special Google number. It's just linked. It's only when somebody clicks the call button on their phone. So if they dial it in manually, it doesn't record it. They have to click call.
Correct. So if they dial it in manually, it doesn't record. Now, as far as Google Ads won't actually show your real cell phone. It'll jumble it up and make it a Google forwarding number for your privacy and also to track the conversion. So you don't have to worry about your phone number being blasted out to the public. It is a forwarding number. Yeah.
That was me.
Oscar, awesome. Roxanne, I'm so happy you guys enjoyed this. I really am. Yeah.
Tell your friends they're missing out. we have like 400 people in this group, and 15 people showed up. 15 to 20 people showed up. Yeah. And I just think it's crazy because you're missing out on super good information here. But
we see a lot of same names too, so that's a good point.
Hey, Audra.
People who keep coming in, you guys are getting really good value. And have you met Sarah in real life, Jonathan?
No. Sarah Theonis?
Yeah. No, I think she's gonna be. Watch out for her, man. She's put on her radar.
Yeah, and I want to say hi to Audra here. So Audra is, I believe you're a part of the Notary Society Facebook group. So if you guys aren't part of that, that's really good. She works alongside Kim Sennett. Kim Sennett is awesome, and they teach a lot of general notary or notary basics and education. So shout out to the Notary Academy. I just remembered what it was called. Shout out to the Notary Academy. If you guys are interested in, about them, I would suggest joining their Facebook group. They host a lot of events, and I think they have an academy across every state for the most part. And Audra, if you can correct me if I'm wrong there. But yes.
Yeah. But guys, this is my website, by the way. If you would prefer to watch a webinar first, I have a great webinar on there. Just go to the homepage. There's like 5 different buttons. Like here, watch the webinar, attend the webinar. And it's like an hour-and-a-half presentation where I do a screen recording of one of my clients' Google Ads accounts and actually listen to some real phone calls, these 30-day recordings. There's a few of them in there. So if you want to get an idea of exactly how it works, it's all in the webinar. So just click on attend the webinar or click on watch the webinar. You just have to enter in your phone number and your email, and then it starts playing automatically. And then from there, you can set a Calendly appointment with me as well. And once again, I'd be more than happy to serve you guys that are coming in from this group. You know, this final rush of, you know, whoever comes in, I probably can only take on like maybe 2 more clients as well. So if you come in this next week and you're one of the first 2, you know, I'll take care of you.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, I've actually been trying to convince Yuki to get out of the notary marketing business because he puts so much time and effort into it. I'm like, man, this is not scalable. You know, what you're doing, you're giving so much that it doesn't make sense for you. And so that's why, you know, we're meeting up and he's trying to go on to something else.
Yeah.
So,
because
I would definitely take advantage of Yuki.
Yeah, I have very fair pricing. Because most notaries, they're bootstrapping it. It's their first business. Maybe they have a 9-to-5 job and their dream is just to become an entrepreneur. And so my pricing reflects that. But, you know, I do put a lot of work into every single client. So like Johnny was saying, I'm actually going to transition into doing the same type of marketing, but for lawyers, because they can pay the big bucks, right?
Yeah.
So that's
that's
actually the direction I'm taking personally. But I'll still take care of you as long as you come into in the next week. Still going to take care of you at the very, very fair price that I charge.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Well, if there's no more questions, you know, again, we appreciate you all being here. I will host another office hours tomorrow at 5:15 Pacific, and it'll be by Zoom. So if you guys haven't noticed, I've been doing those by Zoom so that you can ask questions live and we can have a direct dialogue and interaction. It's much easier that way. So please.
What's on the docket for next week?
Oh, next week, thank you, is attorney Jolene Blackburn is going to be joining us. She'll be presenting about estate plan signings, what goes on in the signings, common questions that get asked or things that could go wrong, and also talk about how to market to an estate planning attorney, how she would want to be marketed to. So it'll be a really good session next week as well. We hope to see you there. Same time, there'll be a post invite. So that'll be in the Facebook group. So I believe you're all in the Facebook group. Definitely use it. I keep all the recordings and resources in there. Ask us questions. It's a really good, useful place for all of you.
Yeah, and I'm sure you guys probably do have a lot of questions. I kind of went out. I mean, if you guys are kind of like me, you just took what you learned from either the loan signing system or marketing for not estate planning, but for escrow, and then just kind of introduce that to attorneys. And it's a little bit different. And I'm sure Julian will go through it with you, and then I'll kind of tell you guys some stories about what I did and knocking on every single door. So it'll be interesting to kind of to hear what she has to say from an attorney's perspective.
All right. Thank you, everybody. You guys have a great night. We're signing off.
All right. Thank you, guys. Oh, hold on. Eve says something. Try to schedule a call with Yuki. Doesn't allow me to book after the 12th. Yeah. That's how my calendar is. It just has like maybe 5 to 7 days out. Because usually when people book, this is a great final tip for the crowd.
Yeah.
Usually if a call comes in for a notarization, right, and you usually want to schedule it for anything. If you guys have any kind of business out there, you usually want to schedule things for somewhat into the near future, because people schedule stuff for like 3 weeks out and then everybody forgets. So, but Eve, if you have a special situation going on where I don't know, maybe you're out of town for the next week, or you're in Japan for something for the next 2 weeks or whatever, then just you can email me. Here, let me put my email in here again. You can email me and just tell me what's going on. You know, as long as it's reasonable, then that's fine. We can schedule something for more than 5 days out. But otherwise, yeah, I usually like to, you know, get things done pretty quickly.
All right. So I think we'll be signing off for real now. Goodbye. Good night, everybody.
All right. See you guys.